I will call Thursday night, October 2nd, 2008, regular meeting of the Ascension Parish Council to order. Our invocation tonight will be led by Mr. Louis Bou LeBlanc. Would everyone stand, please?
Yes, sir. Right. Father, we have a few short items that we want to pray with you about tonight, so let us bow our heads and pray for your blessing. First of all, Father, we come to you in gratitude. We are grateful for the many gifts that you give us, not the least of which are the gift of this day, the gift of this beautiful weather, and the great gift of life itself. And Father, you know that we are in a state of rebuilding now, a state of coming back from the winds of hurricanes. And so we ask you to give us the patience to understand that Rome was not built in a day, and that progress is being made, and that time will heal a lot of things. And so we ask you to bless and have compassion for the people who are and were suffering from these hurricanes. And what can we take from that? We say, since you so drastically told us who was in charge or showed us who was in charge, we all like to be in charge of things. But when things that are beyond our control, we understand who is really in control. So let us turn our lives over to you and give control to you so that we can be happier and our lives will be more in keeping with your plan for us. We hear early on in salvation history the term the common good. Well, in modern times, I don't know where more appropriate use of that term could be than in a democratic society. So tonight we ask the decision makers to have the wisdom to know what is best for the common good and the courage to carry out those plans. We ask you to bless our parish, named Ascension after the ascension of your Son into your kingdom. And we ask you to bless our people so that they can know your plan, they can understand your message and respond to that message, and live a life of peace and security so that they can be a better service to you and to our fellow human beings. And all this we pray through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Mr. Boo. Mr. Boo is lay minister with Ascension Catholic Church here in Donaldsonville. Our pledge tonight will be led by Mr. Nolan LeBlanc.
Would y'all join me in the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir. Roll call, Ms. Suzanne. All present with the exception of Councilman Adrian Thompson, Councilman Chris Lohr. Item 3, we do not have any chair additions. Our public comment period, anyone wants to speak on anything on the agenda tonight, now is the time to sign in with Ms. Suzanne. Item 5, we'll go into our presentation. Before we do that, I'd like to announce two of our fellow councilmen have had birthdays. Councilman Todd Lambert this past Wednesday, yesterday, and Councilman Benny Johnson is today. I'd like to wish you all a happy birthday. Our presentation tonight, on the agenda it's listed item A, Pegramir. We will pass on that. Item B, Mr. Eric Scarmetta, candidate for Public Service Commissioner.
Good evening, members of the council. I'd like to congratulate Councilman Lambert on having the finest birthday in the world. I made 50 on Wednesday. I am a candidate for the Public Service Commission in District 1, which effectively is the east bank of the Mississippi River in Ascension up through Livingston. I'd like to tell you a little bit about myself before I get into any issues about the Public Service Commission. I had the privilege of being here tonight, and I'm very excited about it. On the cornerstone of this building is the name Frederick Duffel, and he is my great-grandfather. And I bear his name as my middle name, and it's an honor to be in effectively what was the courtroom in which he used to hold trials. The family, a long time ago, was disrupted by death and disease and was scattered to the winds, but we have never forgotten our roots here in Ascension Parish. I am a graduate of Brother Martin High School in New Orleans. I then attended Louisiana State University, where I received a degree in industrial technology. I attended Southern University Law School, and I'm a cum laude law graduate with a degree, Juris Doctorate degree. I also then pursued a career and received my master's degree at Tulane University with a master's in maritime and international law. I've practiced law for 23 years in Louisiana. I have, since Hurricane Katrina, become much more aggressively involved in mediations and had the privilege of serving under the Department of Insurance Rule 22 program, in which I conducted over 700 mediations in the New Orleans greater region, allowing families to achieve finality in the post-storm issues without the need of litigation, with an 85% rate of success. And that's what I want to bring to the Public Service Commission. I want to bring an atmosphere of resolution between consumers and between service providers, and before we have to get into the litigation process of the administrative law process. Power should always rest with the consumer. It should never be an issue where companies control the issue before us. We always have to balance issues to make sure we have services, but we must make sure that we provide the lowest prices for our consumers at the best quality product, but with looking to the future to ensure that we have adequate supplies of services for the growth in our state. I would like to tell you that I'm married to my wife, Debbie, of 10 years. I have a son named Race, who is 6 years old. My daughter is named Elizabeth, and she is 9, 2 weeks ago. We live in Metairie, Louisiana. I attend St. Catherine's Catholic Church. If I have any other questions you'd like to present to me as a person who is seeking the candidacy of the Public Service Commission, I'd welcome your questions, and I'd be glad to answer them.
Sir, is
Yes.
this is Commissioner Blossman's?
Yes, sir. This would
seat?
be replacing Commissioner Blossman, who is retiring.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak to you tonight. The election is this Saturday, October 4th. I hope you will consider voting for me. My little card that I've left around here has got my name spelled correctly. My website is myname.com, so it's Eric, E-R-I-C, Skrmetta, S-K-R-M-E-T-T-A.com. There's plenty of information, and on that website is my telephone number. And if anybody has any questions, they should feel free to call me. It's my cell phone. I actually answer it. So thank you very much for the opportunity to speak to you tonight. It is a great honor to be in this courtroom. Thank you so much. Good evening, gentlemen.
Thank you, sir, and good luck. Next, we have item 6, Parish President Report.
I have a very light schedule tonight, but I just want to take this opportunity again publicly to thank Mr. Bob for all the hard work that he did. Today was his last day, and hopefully we can get together with him next week and show our appreciation a little bit. Yes, sir.
Yeah, Mr. President, who's going to be taking Mr. Bob's place?
I'm going to have Mr. Ronnie Fairchild as acting Public Works Director and Ms. Jackie Bowman as his assistant Public Works Director. So, there they are, and I'm sure they'll do a good job in the interim, and we'll see. We have opened up, we've sent out for resumes on this, and hopefully we get people to inquire, and certainly don't have any problem in-house if somebody wants to interview. So all I have is debris removal. I have Alma here with CDM who's doing the monitoring. From what I'm seeing, riding around, we're making progress. I talked to the state, I guess, monitor. Mr. Gary Beard is handling Ascension Parish, East Ascension Parish. They finally got Mr. Harold Mears' pit approved. I don't know if George talked to him or not, but sure he did. But they started, I think, Monday. Pat's telling me they were on 6/21 today. Hopefully they can wrap it up in a 4 to 6 week period also, but there's a lot of debris still on state roads. I get a lot of calls about it. what I'm doing now is referring them to either Mr. Beard or Mr. Joey Turo. So I think they're going to have a schedule that they're going to post or either send to the councilman this week sometime.
Phone number.
Mr. Beard is 505-2001.
That's it.
So if I can. And
Mr. President.
Joey Turo is at Public Works in Brittany. Now, the West Bank, it's a different company that's handling it. I think they're pretty much are getting close to being finished here.
Mr. President, and just to inform, the state is only picking up one time.
That is correct. I want to make that, I can see that there'll be a problem here in writing today.
We have a problem already.
If this council wants to send a resolution to the state asking to make one more pass, I think that would be appropriate.
I'd like to make that motion.
I have a motion by Councilman Kluart, second by Councilman Shakespeare. Any discussion? Any objection? Resolution passes.
Yes, I quick discussion. I just, while we're all here tonight, is just make it clear to the public that we did, your administration and the rest of us did aggressively try to attempt to come to some kind of piggyback agreement with the state and allow our contractors, allow us to get the parish cleaned up. We had people in line, and they've
Well,
already had their people, right?
Maybe we can do that on a second pass. I will be in contact with them, and that may be something, or maybe this company that's on the East Bank can switch on over to the West Bank when they're through and then switch back on over to the East Bank. And we are actively pursuing, if Mr. Cedric wants to give an update on the private property issue, we've got some news on it this week. Cedric, you want to give him an update? Then I'll turn it over to Alma for the rest of the presentation.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
We have made application to GOSEP and FEMA for private property pickup. It has been approved by GOSEP and the state FEMA coordinator. It is now in Dallas at Region 6, and we anticipate to receive approval in the next couple of weeks. Once we have that approval, we will create a plan for going onto private property and picking up the remainder of the debris. It's moved fairly expeditiously because we got the right people in the loop on our consultant team and on our debris team. So we feel fairly certain that within the next 30 days we'll have the authorization to go on private property and finish this debris pickup.
Right.
Mr. Grant, once this is approved, will the homeowners have to sign any
Yes,
type
sir.
of a waiver? Or?
There's already a document that FEMA has pre-approved as the right of entry. It's a pretty standard,
Yes, sir.
standard form, and we'll create a system for getting that to people.
Okay. Thank you. Councilman Joseph.
Yes. Mr. Grant, in the previous meeting, we had talked about C&D, construction and demolition, what you call it. I have a lot of that debris on this side of the river. They are putting it out there based on, we had discussed those issues that it may do it. I want to know what is the possibility and the time frame that if we're going to get it. So, I mean, we need to start looking at other alternatives.
No, let me explain. We are fairly close to what I would consider to be our first pass. Okay, second pass, we will put out public information that will encourage people to divide the debris between C&D and vegetative debris, and then we will come and make a second pass and pick up what's left. What I'm hoping is once we get this private property authorization, we will be in the same timeline as that for C&D, vegetative, and private property. So in the month, it's going to be a pretty busy month of October, November getting this done. But yes, we are going to pick up C&D.
Okay, and I just want, we're talking about another 2 to 3 weeks before we get approval.
Conservatively, yes.
Right, and I just want to make sure the public know that if you have it in front of them right now, it's another 2 to 3 weeks?
Well, 2 or 3 weeks on private property.
Correct.
We have authorization to go forward on C&D. So as soon as we finish the first pass, we will put out public information on when the second pass will start within the next 2 weeks.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening. I've left with each of you a brief summary of progress to date. We can just kind of quickly go through it. I have with me also Mike Enlow. Mike is coordinating the on-the-ground efforts, monitoring, interacting with the contractor and their crews, and he could probably be of any help with some specific questions and maybe some practical insight on how our right-of-way debris removal and private property debris removal really do work. So anyways, just to clarify it so everybody understands, a debris removal contractor is the entity that conducts the removal operation, and the monitoring contractor, CDM in your case, is monitoring their day-to-day operations to ensure the expectations and contractual requirements are met. As Mr. President and Mr. Grant said, the progress to date is significant. So far, about 90,000 cubic yards have been removed, and you can see there we've kind of broken it up into the 4 drop-off sites and the Citizens drop-off site in Sorrento, the 5th site. If you have any questions about this, we can get into that as well. The next sheet shows a map. It's obviously shrunk down to fit on your paper, so you can't really see the details. We have a larger, full-size map here with us. I believe it's also accessible from the website, so you can see daily progress by street. And if you have any questions about that, we'll be happy to get back to that. There is also a complaint and answer line set up. There were a few bugs in the first few days, but I think we've worked those out. We've had 203 calls to date, and they're quite significantly, the majority are general questions. You know, when will debris happen? What do we do? What's the procedures, et cetera? But there have been about 58 complaints, each of which are logged and resolved and documented. Looking ahead, real quick, based on the current level of progress and the number of crews that have been assigned, you know, the continuing right-of-way debris removal activities could last another 3 to 6 weeks. And as Mr. Grant said, as the first pass ends and the second pass begins with construction and demolition debris separated, you know, we'll have a better idea of really what the volumes are that are out there. And as the parish president mentioned also, the private property debris removal is under review. Again, FEMA is reviewing the parish's request. If approved, there are some startup activities, and Mike can go into those specifically with you if you'd like. But startup activities take anywhere from a month to 2 months to get to the point where the contractors can really go out there and start removing debris from private property. And just given the size of Ascension Parish and our kind of gut feel on what's out there right now, we think it's probably a 2 to 4 month operation. Obviously, as we get closer and we have more information, we'll be able to tighten that up.
Chair?
Councilman Lambert?
Yeah, I'm looking at 4 months down the road. You know, down here in the south, we're going to start getting wet. When we get on private property, it's going to be a little tougher to get on. Could that be prolonged depending on weather conditions?
Well, I think Mike can give you some practical insight on how wet weather affects private access.
It obviously can make more of a mess than was there before. It is the nature of the beast, I should say. You know, the homeowners will sign a hold harmless agreement with the right of entry, and that's really the only way to allow the contractor to remove the threats to immediate health and safety.
Okay. One other question, Elmer, is that phone number. Could you state that phone number for if anybody has any more questions? You have it?
It's area code 225-663-3041.
Okay. Just for the public, so they'll be aware of it.
Councilman Joseph?
Yes. Mr. Allen, I'm noticing we got 10,000 cubic yards in the Donaldsonville area. Could you give me an estimated how much cubic yards we was going to pick up on the west side of the river?
I'm sorry, I don't have that with me, but I can get that for you.
Anyone on it? Okay. And because I know that number, it was about 100,000 cubic yards.
And so I just want to let everyone know in the public that we're a long way on the west side of that cubic yard. So there's a lot of debris still left out there. And it will take more than 3 to 6 weeks to pick it up. Okay? Thank you.
Councilman Lambert, Dempsey Lambert.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. On the sites, I see on Joseph L. Road, there's 44,822 cubic yards. What we need is some type of dust control out there. I don't know what, with the dry weather, but whatever they can get out there, please do it.
Councilman Lambert, I was out today at the site, and they had water trucks coming up and down the roads, watering it, to keep the dust down. So I don't know if that's what you had in mind, or.
Anytime, water, whatever. I know they use some chemicals to keep the dust down, so just until the site's closed, we need to monitor that.
Okay.
Councilman Joseph.
Yes, on the complaint, Mr. Allen, what type of complaints are we getting? Is just property damage or trees or water lines?
The last totals that I saw, which were I think a couple of days old, the majority of complaints were incomplete removal. There were some complaints of yard damage. I'm sorry, I don't have the latest breakdown of what the complaints are. But as of a few days ago, was I think incomplete removal, and I think historically in other places. And is that the trend?
Okay. Thank you.
Councilman Valentine.
Yeah, Mr. Alma, one of the problems we had in Dutchtown area was that we went into the subdivision, we picked up the debris, and then there was an inspector that did not inspect it. And so they turned around and dumped it in the middle of the road. This took place last week in Dutchtown Acres. It took us like 5 days to resolve this problem. And I wish someone would speak to that, because that's the only place, I don't know if any other councilman had that, but they turned around and dumped it in the middle of the road and only left half of the road open. So can someone speak to that issue? I know it's been resolved, but I'm still curious why it took so long to resolve.
It has been resolved, and I'm unsure as to why the time frame it took. I think in that scenario there wasn't a monitor to verify the loads. That typically is supposed to go to the landfill as well and dumped. When it's not watched, it's not reimbursed. So that's typically what should have happened. That isolated scenario. I can't speak for the contractor, but we're making sure that it really doesn't happen.
Okay, we have some steps in place where that will
Sure.
not happen to any other
Yes,
area in the parish, hopefully. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Any more discussion? Councilman Shea-Snyder.
Yes, President Martinez.
I just wanted to explain the boundaries about going on private property. So what I was explaining is kind of like a halo of 50 feet around the building. So I don't want anybody to get the wrong idea that they're going to go out past it. So if you want to explain that?
That's correct. The private property debris removal program is to remove immediate threats to health and safety on the individual's property. That could be around the driveways, around the home, around any playgrounds, picnic tables, something where the homeowner uses, and a FEMA representative usually comes out to the site and assesses the situations. But you're correct, it's not a land clearing, it's to move immediate threat to health and safety only.
I was explaining you have a down street in the yard. That would qualify as
Not to do with debris, but one more thing when we talk about report. You had mentioned that Bayou Lafourche Freshwater was going to get a report. Are we going to be able to? Okay, we appreciate it. Yeah, that would be fine.
Greatly
because
appreciate that.
We're getting calls to asking what's going on. Thank you.
I'd like to mention one more thing about private property debris removal, if I could. The startup process, as you see, is anywhere from 2 to 4 months, around 2 months. And that requires public notice for the homeowners to come sign those rights of interest. And the quicker that happens, the quicker we get it sent to the Historical Preservation Society, where they have to do a historical check on each property. And in the past, we've had not issues, but with the volume of Hurricane Katrina damage, it sometimes takes a while to get, if the system's overloaded, if the state gets overloaded. So it's important that people come sign up for the program, even if they don't qualify. We still send that off and get the stuff in the system, get the applicants in the system. So that's it. Thank you.
Councilman Joseph?
Sir? So everyone can sign up, but not every private property will be approved.
Correct. Everyone can sign up if they feel that they have a threat. In some instances, it won't qualify under the immediate threat to health and safety.
Mr. Say one thing about that. It doesn't just if you remove trees. We're talking about trailers and all this kind of stuff that's been
Correct.
demolished.
And if we could, can we have some public meetings on the effect to give the public exactly what these areas they are looking for so they can fill out those applications and understand when they're filling it out?
Sure.
Because a lot of them, will just say, I have a tree in my backyard, and they think they're eligible. In some cases, they may not. And once again, the 11 of us going to get those phone calls.
Correct.
Because we did it for one, but we didn't do it for the other one. It's just the policy and the rules. So if we can have some public meeting on that for the public, I'll appreciate it.
Yeah, there's information that we can provide to the parish to get that out.
Any more discussion? Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Mr. President, you finished with your, okay, thank you. Item 7, consent agenda. We'll need a motion to adopt the minutes.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Todd Lambert, second by Councilman Cullen. Any discussion? Any objection? Motion carries. Item 8, we have Personnel Committee Chairman Benny Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have 4 appointments to the Keep Ascension Beautiful Advisory Board. The first one is Miss Anita Can.
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Valentine, second by Councilman Todd Lambert. Any discussion? Any objection? Motion carries.
The second one is DeAndre Bluin.
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Joseph.
Second.
Second by Councilman Dempsey Lambert. Any discussion? Any objection? Motion carries.
The third one is Harold Gyro. So moved.
Moved by Councilman Todd Lambert. Second by Councilman Kent Shakespeare. Any discussion? Any objection? Motion carries.
And the last one is Miss Susanna Gradine.
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Valentine. Second by Councilman Oliver Joseph. Any discussion? Any objection? Motion carries.
The next item, Mr. Chairman, is a reappointment of Councilman Valentine to the 911 Commission.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Moved by Councilman Todd Lambert, second by Councilman Dennis Cullen. Any discussion? Any objection? Motion carries.
The last item, may get Ms. Amanda to clarify a little bit this. The highlights of it are basically that Mr. Ben Babin from the Ascension Waterways Commission came and requested a change to the ordinance that created that board. What they have is currently 5 permanent members and 2 alternates. The 2 alternates have been participating in the meetings. They just don't have a vote. What they would like to do, they made the request to move the board to a 7-member board and take the 2 alternate spots and make them permanent voters.
So moved on that motion.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Kent Shakespeare, second by Councilman Clord. Any discussion? Any objection? Introduction of the amendment to the ordinance passes.
The last item, Mr. Chairman, is we will be having another Personnel Committee meeting on the 22nd of this month at 5 p.m. in the courthouse on the east side.
Okay, sir. Thank you very, very much.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir. Councilman Shakespeare.
are they going to be interviewing for boards?
We haven't set the agenda, but more than likely we are. We've got several boards. I think you should have all gotten notifications on all the boards that we have applications out for.
And they are in the paper.
And they are in the paper. They have been hitting the paper. I think it's 6 boards, I think, that we've advertised for.
We have received 3 applications for the Human Resources Review Board,
Okay.
Okay. Any more discussion? We'll move into our general business section. Our trick-or-treat date and times. Trick-or-treat will be Friday, October 31st, 2008. The time 6 to 8, which the same as Gonzalez has passed. Motion by Councilman Todd Lambert, second by Councilman Dennis Cullen. Any discussion? Any objection? Motion carries. Next on the agenda, public hearings, ordinances. Reading of ordinance. Mrs. Manda.
Whereas the property described in Exhibit A, attached hereto, and made a part hereof, has become available for purchase, whereas the Parish of Ascension hereby desires to purchase the property as per law, the Parish of Ascension hereby ordains to authorize the office of the Parish President to purchase the property attached in Exhibit A for a sum not to exceed $104,000. That pursuant to all applicable provisions of law, the office of the Parish President is directed and authorized to do whatever is necessary to purchase the property for said purpose.
Move to open public hearing.
Motion by Councilman Valentine to open public hearing, second by Councilman Kluart. Anyone wishing to speak on this item, please come forward.
Move to close.
Move to close by Councilman Benny Johnson, second by Councilman Randy Kluart. Public hearing is closed. I need a motion to approve the ordinance. Motion by Councilman Benny Johnson, second by Councilman Randy Kluart. Any discussion? Any objection? Ordinance is approved. Next, ma'am.
To amend the Ascension Parish Subdivision Regulations, Section 60.100A, whereas the Parish of Ascension has in effect a comprehensive plan of zoning, and pursuant to that plan, a parish-wide development code was adopted by the Ascension Parish Governing Authority, which became effective on June 1st, 1999, whereas the Ascension Parish Development Code provides for a procedure for its amendment of the Development Code and related regulations and restrictions by initiation of the Parish Planning and Zoning Commission. Whereas the Parish Planning and Zoning Commission has initiated an amendment to Section 60.100A of the Ascension Parish Subdivision Regulations to read as follows. Now therefore be it ordained that Section 60.100A of the Ascension Parish Subdivision Regulations is amended to read as follows. Hardship regulations governing division of lands among family members. The following procedure shall be followed for the hardship subdivision of family property, each containing at least 1/2 of an acre. All provisions of the subdivision regulations shall be followed except the requirements under construction standards for concrete, asphalt, or hard surface roads and streets, except the dead-end, 40-foot wide servitudes of ingress and egress dedicated right-of-ways may be allowed where it is unlikely that they will ever become through streets as determined by the Planning Commission, and except as 20-foot driveways, servitudes may be allowed going from a public road to a single residence or structure situated on a lot. The driveway may not be used to service additional lots. When any subdivision under this part contains 5 or more lots, the minimum construction standard for the private access servitude shall be: within the private access servitude, a road shall be built at least 20 feet in width on a road bed, at least 24 feet in width, with adequate drainage ditches on either side. This road shall be constructed prior to the first building permit being issued for any lot being served by this private servitude of access. The private access servitude shall be the following width: 1 to 3 lots being created and serviced, 40 feet, 1 to 5 lots being created and serviced, 50 feet, 1 to 7 lots being created and serviced, 60 feet. In usual and exceptional circumstances where the required width servitude of ingress and egress would not allow the hardship subdivision of family property, the Planning and Zoning Commission may grant a variance of the width of the servitude in ingress and egress. In no event, however, shall the width of the said servitude be less than 30 feet.
Move to open public hearing.
Motion by Councilman Valentine to open public hearing, second by Councilman Todd Lambert. Anyone wish to speak on this item, come forward, please.
Motion to close, Mr. Chairman.
Motion to close by Councilman Todd Lambert, second by Councilman Randy Kluart. Public hearing is closed. I have a motion by Councilman Todd Lambert, and a second by Councilman Dennis Cullen. I'm sorry. Any discussion? Any objection? Ordinance is approved. Item 16, I'll need a motion for executive session, please.
Mr. Chairman, before then, I know Councilman Laura is not here, just a reminder for people, the recycling, Ascension Recycling this Saturday at Walmart in Prairieville.
That's correct.
He usually reminds us. I want to make
Okay, that, and while we're at it, I'd like to remind everyone of Employee Appreciation Day, Sunday from 12 to 4 at Sorrento at the Civic Center. Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Executive session, I'll need a motion. Motion by Councilman Claude, second by Councilman Todd Lambert. I'll need a roll call, please.
Yes.
Councilman Collins.
Yes.
Councilman Johnson.
Yes.
Councilman Joseph.
Yes.
Councilman Dixie Lambert.
Yes.
Councilman Todd Lambert.
Yes.
Councilman Ken Chase.
Yes.
Councilman George Valentine.
Yes.
Okay, yes, ma'am. The executive session will be R.J. Daigle & Sons Incorporated versus Ascension Parish, suit number 90334.
Motion to reconvene, Mr. Chairman.
Have a motion by Councilman Todd Lambert to reconvene. Have a second by Councilman Randy Cluart. This time, Ms. Lindsay Manda, would you come forward, please, and explain the suit number 90334?
Our contractor, R.J. Daigle, has sued us on the 2007 road construction project. That's
Mr.
01.
Mr. President, I will make a motion to let legal go forward with any legal action.
I second.
We have a motion by Councilman Oliver Joseph, second by Councilman Todd Lambert. Any discussion? Any objection? Motion carries. Before we get to our next item on the agenda, Councilman Cluart would like to say a few words.
I would just like to encourage everybody you know and everybody you see to go out and vote on Saturday. We have a lot of important things. It's one of our most sacred rights as American citizens that we can choose our destiny and choose what we do in life. Please go out and vote. Ascension Parish has a lot riding on the line. We have the renewal of the drainage tax. You have a lot of things going on with that. You have a lot of other important things that are for the 23rd Judicial District. You have local elections and within all cities and municipalities. So please go out and vote.
I have a motion by Councilman Todd Lambert, second by Councilman Valentine to adjourn.